going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Kaged Review, and this is going to be my review for Thor Ragnarok, directed by Taika Waititi. And so you've got the MCU that has been built up beyond belief. Like, seriously, no one could have expected this thing to take off like it did and to become as big as it did. But I feel like the one character that actually kind of got left behind a little bit was Thor. The first Thor movie I really liked. I thought it was good. I gave it like an 8 out of 10. It was a really good introduction. But if I'm being honest, compared to every other character, he was probably the movie I liked the least. And then Thor the Dark World just really left a bad taste on a lot of people's mouth. And for me, it was my least favorite of the MCU. And so they kind of had to do something new and different. And so they bring in Taika Waititi, who is an amazing director. And just a little side note here, the first time I heard or saw anything about Taika Waititi, he was Hal Jordan's sidekick, the little corny guy in Green Lantern. That was my introduction to Taika Waititi. But anyway, he really just changes everything we think we know, not only about Thor, but about MCU movies as a whole. So you have Chris Hemsworth coming back as Thor, Anthony Hopkins is here as Odin, you have Tom Hiddleston here as Loki, you have Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner, the Incredible Hulk. You have Idris Elba returning as Heimdall. And you actually have a nice little cameo from Benedict Cumberbatch as Dr. Stephen Strange. You're introducing Cate Blanchett as Thor's sister Hela. Tessa Thompson comes in as Valkyrie. Jeff Goldblum comes in as Grand Master, which was great. Taika Waititi plays the role himself, Korg. Carl Urban comes in as Scourge. And then you have some other returning characters from Thor's warrior group. Ray Stevenson as Volstagg. Tadanobu Asano as Hogun. Zachary Levi, the same one who plays Shazam, comes in as Fandral. They don't have Sif at all. I guess they didn't want to kill a woman off. And you actually have cameos by Luke Hemsworth and Matt Damon. We'll get into that in a second. So this starts out with Thor. He's in hell. Surtur is kind of hell's guardian. And Surtur is also the guy who is supposed to create Ragnarok, which is the end of Asgard. He is going to destroy the entire world. And so Thor is trying to figure out how to prevent Ragnarok. And so Surtur says, you gotta, my crown is the source of my power. So there's this amazing fight scene right at the beginning of the movie. They play the Immigrant song, Led Zeppelin, the one you hear in the trailers. And there's just this amazing fight scene where Thor, he's fighting all these demons in hell, knocks Surtur's crown off, and goes and gets picked up. And then he goes back to Asgard with Surtur's crown, and he finds Odin watching a play about the death of Loki. And of course, it's actually Loki hiding himself as Odin. And so the play has Matt Damon playing Loki and Luke Hemsworth playing Thor. And it's the death of Loki play. And so that was kind of funny. Like, it was really great. But, of course, he finds Loki. Loki reveals himself, and then he's like, he wants to know where his dad is, Odin. And so Loki goes and takes Thor to go see Odin. Of course, he's in a rest home that's being torn down. And so Dr. Stephen Strange, he drops Loki through a portal. He has Thor come to his office, whatever you want to call it. And so he's talking to Thor. He's like, why did you bring Loki back to Earth? And he's like, we're trying to find our father. He's like, so if I help you find your father, you're going to leave, right? He's like, yeah. So Doctor Strange takes them to Odin, who is now dying. His power has run out, and he's telling Thor and Loki that Hela is his sister that they didn't know about. And she's actually the goddess of death and incredibly powerful. And so she's really the catalyst for Ragnarok. So Odin dies, Thor's pissed, but then Hela shows up, and all hell breaks loose. She tells both of them to bow. Thor throws his hammer, Mjolnir, at Hela. She just catches Mjolnir and shatters it like glass. And so that was the first major change of the movie. And then Loki calls for Heimdall to, beam them back up to Asgard. Well, Hela follows, and she actually throws them out of the Bifrost before they get anywhere near Asgard. And so she goes up to Asgard and just starts killing people off right, left, and center. Volstagg, Hogun, Fandral, they all die real quick. So, Loki and Thor wind up in this just really trashy area. Like the whole planet's just like a trash heap. And this is where you meet Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. She winds up capturing Thor and taking him to the Grand Master, which is Jeff Goldblum's character. And Jeff Goldblum, the Grand Master, he's kind of like the guy who rules this entire planet. And he has these fights that these gladiator matches that are like for entertainment for everybody there. Well, come to find out, the grand champion of these gladiator fights is the Hulk. And this kind of really introduces the Planet Hulk storyline, which, if you know anything about the comics, it's probably the coolest Incredible Hulk storyline there is. It's very, very cool. So it winds up, Thor has to beat the champion in order to leave. And so they set up the fight. He realizes it's Hulk. He's all excited at first because it's his friend, but then, Hulk has been Hulk for a long time, and he's just nothing but rage now. So this epic fight scene between Thor and Hulk, that Thor technically wins. Hulk's just beating him down, and then he just turns into God of Thunder, and there's lightning coming from everywhere, and he knocks Hulk back really hard with a punch. Very, very cool, dude. They really made the fight look good. At the end of the day, the Grandmaster had this thing on his neck that paralyzes him. And so the Hulk got the last hit in. Thor survived, though. And so now Thor is trying to get Hulk to help him on his fight to save his homeworld. Loki's there on this planet. The Valkyrie's there. So they wind up all teaming up and going back to Asgard. And it starts this epic fight that really just blew me away. Some of the effects here, you get to see Thor in full God mode at points, and it was amazing. But of course, there's that fight between Thor and Hela, where Hela knocks one of Thor's eyes out, and now he's matching Odin. But he realizes that this is a fight that they're not going to win, and so they have to actually make Ragnarok happen. The idea was not to prevent Ragnarok, he understands, it's to create it. And so Surtur, they put his helmet in the Eternal Flame, which makes him get all his powers back. He grows up the size of a mountain, and they unload all the people off Asgard onto ships. And then they destroy the world. Therefore, they take away Hela's power. Destroys Hela, and it's the only way to survive. And so they wind up with just, the people and not the planet. And so that was pretty cool, man. The great thing about this, though, is that this was a comedy. And it was obviously designed to be a comedy. And the thing that impresses me most about this is Taika Waititi was quoted as saying that, somewhere around 80% of this movie was all ad-lib. And if that's the case, then this was phenomenal. It was one of the funnest movies I've seen. This was laugh out loud, beginning to end, but not just funny. The action sequences here blew me away. There were times when I got giddy watching these action sequences. There was a part where Hela's got Thor on a balcony, and there's a big fight going on the Bifrost Bridge. And And she's like, I'm the goddess of death. What were you the god of again? And then there's this like flash scene where you see like Thor talking to Spirit Odin, and Odin's like, are you Thor the god of hammers? The hammer was meant to control your power. You're the god of thunder. And so he just unleashes hell on that Bifrost bridge, and the fight sequence was amazing. It was so cool to see. So that leads directly into Infinity War. There's a mid-credit scene where you have all the people from Asgard on this ship, and then this massive ship rises up in front of them. And you don't know what it is at that point, but then that's the beginning of Infinity War right there. You also get an end credit scene where the Grand Master is, he was overthrown by the people after Thor and the Hulk left. And he's like, yay, you can't have a revolution without a leader. And so he's like, call it a tie. And it's just getting Jeff Goldblum being Jeff Goldblum, man. The whole movie, he was just Goldbluming all over the place. It was great. And that was another thing about this movie, is that everybody did a very, very damn good job with their roles. Like, everything was so good. Tessa Thompson, Tom Hiddleston, Chris Hemsworth, Jeff Goldblum, Cate Blanchett. Everybody was phenomenal. Even Taika Waititi is Korg, man. Just great. So I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. It was a damn fun movie. Wasn't exactly perfect, but it was pretty damn close for what I wanted, man. It was great. It redefined Thor. He needed something fresh and new. This was it. So ladies and gentlemen, that's where I'm at. 9 out of 10. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackwitz. Kaged Nation, out.